Changi Chapel and Museum is the documentary record of the experiences of the prisoners of war and civilian internees following the surrender of the British to the Japanese on 15th February 1942. It's very hard for us now today to kind of imagine what the conditions were like there. We can't reproduce these experiences. We can try to tell the stories based on the artifacts. The important guiding principle to us was let the artifacts speak for themselves. Toothbrush is important because it tells us how the prisoners of war coped with daily life items. How to, if they didn't have toothbrushes, so they had to make one out of material that they found in the area. For example, bamboo to make the handle, coconut fiber for the brush, and then bitumen to glue the brush with the handle. So in this way, they continue to carry on a semblance of normal life. These are personal artifacts. Usually, they are kept by the former prisoner of war, and after a period of time, when they passed away, the family members discover, for example, this box, and inside some of these items. So it's also a process of discovery and then connecting with memories. Because sometimes the prisoner of war, most of them certainly didn't want to talk about experiences. That silence is uncovered by the second generation. The story is based on the device itself. Is supposed to be used for transmitting or receiving messages from outside. This is a very dangerous item to keep in Changi jail because if it is found out by the Japanese, it will result in severe punishment. So necessarily it has to be concealed. And it also tells us, how resourceful, the prisoners of war were in trying to communicate with the outside world without attracting the attention of the Japanese, and how they are able to do this, hiding it inside a matchbox. Morse code is conveying messages by using coded signals, So usually, you kind of tap. And each tab has got a certain alphabet. So in that sense, you convey a short message. There's a danger, if they found out, they'll get severe punishment. So this display is quite interesting, quite unique, because it tells another part of the story of Changi jail. If I want to use a term for it, I would probably use the word underground material. These sketches show life in Changi jail, and they are very important visual record. You can see some of the items here, daily life items, the type of clothing that the men are wearing, and together with this whole section here, the visitor can enter into the world of the prisoner of war through these sketches. This is Harold Young. He was a planter in Johor. These are Europeans, civilians who came before World War II to open up rubber plantations in Malaya, and They were interned in Changi jail. In this particular incident, there was a Japanese guard who was interested in art. So he supplied paint and brushes to Harold Young, the planter. And of course, this is one example of Japanese guard and a prisoner of war. These artworks convey creative spirit of the prisoners of war. This is the Changi Cross that was in the chapel. It was made out of an artillery shell casing. And this is about 79 years old. It was made in Changi. And the chaplain, Eric Cordingley, who brought it to the POW camp in the Burma-Siam Death Railway. Then he came back to Changi, and after the liberation, chaplain Eric Cordingley took it back with him to England. Later came back here to be displayed in this museum. So this cross has traveled thousands of miles. A very symbolic, significant historical record of the Changi Chapel. And it gave comfort and solace to the prisoners of war, because religion played a very, very important role in coping with imprisonment. The architecture here, each pillar symbolizes a pillar of remembrance of those who underwent the experiences here, as well as those who passed away. And the cross is an artifact, of course it has that religious significance, that calling, and as they worship, and they sing the hymns, for a moment of time, they are transported, so to speak, from their imprisoned life to another realm of hope, of inspiration, the message that things will not stay like this forever. There is a kind of redemptive message also, a beacon of hope, powerful symbol of the Changi prisoners' experience.